Welcome back to Murder Not Murdering with Erin.
And Autumn.
Hey, so I did just get mooned by my husband about a minute ago. Oh,
I know.
computer's getting optimized. It's fine. Uh, other than that, we just had a really great weekend.
Yes.
Autumn and I actually got to see each other in person, which is amazing because we see each other like not often.
No, and we got to spend multiple days together.
Yes, our dear friends, Tim and Matt, were gracious hosts and had us
Yes.
over to their place. And we had an awesome time. We went to Port Townsend. We went to some cideries. We did a little bit of wine tasting. So we had the most amazing dinner at Mossback in Kingston, and it was delicious.
It is in the cutest century-old farmhouse. So we were even seated in the dining room. It was so intimate. It was four of us. It felt like we were the only people there.
Yes. And by the way, everything we went to was COVID friendly, outdoors.
Yes.
And we, all of us are almost fully vaccinated. I think just Autumn and I were waiting for our second shots. So it was the first time I felt like a human being in a really long time. So it was lovely.
Same. It was so lovely. And everyone handled the COVID friendly environment so well. We felt so safe, so comfortable. And it helps that Tim's a nurse. So we felt pretty privileged to be able to go out and about with our own private personal nurse.
Yes, honestly, when I was pregnant, I straight up
This is so great.
that I had my private nurse with me at all times. And then people be like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you don't have a private nurse." But
sorry,
honestly,
peasant.
he's just my very dearest, one of my very dearest friends. And it is so funny because we just were hanging out. He was not my private nurse, but we go way back and it was so nice. We hung out in the hot tub. We had great food, great drinks, and it was just a lovely weekend. So I was
they were the best hosts. We felt so at home. They
Yes.
made us amazing food.
Matt made us breakfast in the morning.
Yes.
It was great.
He is such a good cook. I felt so spoiled.
Yes, very much so. Josh, you need to step it up, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. Dustin and Josh, you need to step up your game because Tim's husband is on point.
Yeah, if we're gonna be honest right now, like 2 seconds ago, Josh just mooned me. So that's about where
Yes.
that's where we're
yes, he did. And yeah, we'll leave it there.
Yeah, we're gonna leave it there. Yeah, I got a front moon and I got a back moon. So
yes, but I did not. I was lucky enough to be left off of that. So
I'm gonna let all of that be up to all of your imaginations. Anyway, Autumn, you're gonna start us off tonight.
Yes, I am.
So let's get into this.
Okay. So I will be covering the case, the murder of Jamie Stice.
Ooh, I don't know this one at all. I say that every week, but I am not as adept into this as Autumn. So, although I think I'm going to throw you for a loop with mine. Anyway,
I'm excited. I love that you pull the old cases that I've never heard of before because it's just so fun.
Like 19th century. Let's do it.
Yes.
Okay, go on.
So Jamie Stice was a 21-year-old pregnant woman who lived at home with her mother, Jeannie, and her stepfather, Mike, in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Jamie's parents divorced when she was 2 years old, and eventually her mom met and married Mike. Jamie and Mike's relationship was described as very neutral. They didn't argue, but they weren't very close.
I don't like this.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't like anything about this.
Kind of sometimes a little bit of a red flag in certain situations.
Yeah.
But her mother has stated that they coexisted pretty peacefully. And Jamie ultimately just wanted her mom to be happy.
Okay. Sorry, I'm like, immediately like red flag, right?
Sounds suspect.
Yes.
She was in a relationship for about 2 years with 23-year-old James Reynolds, who was also known as JJ, a divorcee who had a 2-year-old son, Gabe, and now he was about to be Jamie's baby daddy.
You said that like it was like a promo for a movie. It's called Baby Daddy, starring.
It's called Baby Daddy. This was Jamie's first pregnancy. After the initial stress of telling her mom she was pregnant, her mother gave her support, and Jamie was over the moon excited to become a mommy. Because James had been married before, Jamie didn't want to push him into marriage just because she was pregnant, which I understand.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually really mature for somebody who's 21 and pregnant, not to want to push their partner to marry them just because they're pregnant.
Because that doesn't really matter.
No.
To be honest.
Yes. In 2011, Facebook was at its peak in popularity, and Jamie was no exception. She was obsessed with Facebook. Once sharing the news with her mom, she logged into Facebook to share the news with her friends and family.
Of course. I feel like that was like the go-to.
Yes. And Jamie loved using this pregnancy tracker that was available on Facebook at the time. And friends remember her sharing the progress of the baby growing through this app, like showing all the milestones and compared it to like
it's
fruits and vegetables.
It's a kiwi.
And like the size of an orange or a watermelon, or they are growing fingernails and toes or whatever.
I feel like more comfortable with the growing fingernails and toes than like compare them to fruits and vegetables and things that you
eat. Yes, but I mean, it's very common for those, like your baby's the size of a papaya or a watermelon.
For those that have not had a small human, that's what they do. All of the apps, all of the books, everything just compares them to food, which is so strange to me. But I feel like it's universal that we all know the size of those things.
Yes. And I think that's why they do that, because it's something that everyone can relate to, know what the size of an orange is.
Of course. Of course.
In the first few weeks of her pregnancy, Jamie really started to think about what kind of future she wanted for herself and what kind of career she would be best suited for. She loved children, and she really wanted to work with them in some capacity. She had filled out some applications for some programs to get started in social work. She believed that would be the perfect job for her, a bright future and the motivation to prepare her for her dream career and a baby on the way. So things were really, really looking up for Jamie.
Also, she would be able to have a place to work and have a child.
Yes. And
so it's really setting her up for success.
Right. And all of her friends had said that she really wanted to be a social worker because she wanted to help children. She had seen children when she was growing up that she wished she could have helped. So it was just something that really called to her heart.
That's great. That I feel like it's going to be bad.
Jamie wanted a better life for her child than she had. She grew up very poor and always worrying about the bills. JJ was not financially stable. He worked a lot of odd jobs to make ends meet, but couldn't really hold one down long term. He lost his job shortly after finding out about the pregnancy. This really put some stress on Jamie, but James assured her he would work out some type of schedule, pick up shifts somewhere from friends here and there, and they would make it through. As soon as it was a possibility, Jamie found out the gender of her baby. It was a boy. She was thrilled.
That's exciting.
Yes. Her and James even picked out a name, Isaiah, which means God is salvation.
I was going to say that's biblical.
Yes. Of course, she posted the sonogram picture on Facebook, announcing the gender as well as the name. She also posted a picture of herself with the baby bump. She was so excited. James began to show little to no interest in Jamie.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So James began to show little to no interest in Jamie and the pregnancy, worrying about the financial hardship it will add and the unrealistic requests for baby items from Jamie that he feels are frivolous and not necessary.
Well, what does that even mean? Because what's frivolous to him might be something that's essential to her.
So according to friends, Jamie had been pointing things out like a play set and things that she was looking for, it wouldn't be something that you would necessarily need for an infant. So she was
Well,
dreaming
yeah, but
like,
they're only an infant for very little time. And then all of a sudden you have a toddler and you need those things.
yes, but at the time they were very poor. So I could see how that would stress James out, thinking she's having all these unrealistic expectations so close
Well, and I
to,
think there also is a pressure on new moms to have all of the gadgets and the things.
yes, totally. And he was like, well, we can just use the hand-me-downs from Gabe.
No, of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That
And
makes sense.
and she wasn't really into that. She wanted him to also have his own items.
Yeah, she wanted everything new.
Yes. And I mean, I get that. She's a first time
Totally.
mommy. She wants,
She wants
she
to have
wants,
her own moment.
yes. And I mean, there's no harm in that. But I mean, I get both sides. He
I
was getting
understand that
stressed
he
from
was,
it.
well, the financial stress of it. I understand.
Yes, totally. So Jamie was lonely and sought friendships on Facebook. She was
Uh,
7 months pregnant at this point and struggling to do things and go places. I
yeah.
mean, when you're that far along, you don't
You're
have
just
that.
uncomfortable. You're just
Yes,
uncomfortable and you're just ready to be done.
totally. Jamie posts constantly on Facebook about her pregnancy. Her relationship with James is deteriorating, and she turns more and more to her online social community for support and interaction.
Oh no.
One day, Jamie receives a Facebook request from Kathy Coy, a woman who has a friend in common, Rebecca Daniels. Kathy states she is Becca's cousin. Jamie feels comfortable with this
I
and
was going to say, I would feel comfortable with,
yeah,
it's a woman that you sort of know and you know
yes.
another woman in common. It'd be one thing if it was like a girl that was a friends with a guy or something, but this is two women in common.
Or maybe a friend that's just friend with an acquaintance, but Becca and Jamie have known each other their whole lives.
So
It
I would
doesn't
feel, yeah,
specify. Yeah, it doesn't specify if they were related, but
but I would
Jamie's,
feel a lot more comfortable with that.
yes. So
So I could understand like doing like friend letting someone be your friend for that.
yes, because Jamie was cautious and made sure that she knew Becca. So she
Yeah.
reached out to Becca, asked her if she knew her, and Becca said, yes, that's my cousin.
Yeah.
So she approved the request.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I'm like, I won't approve anybody unless I know you.
Right. And Kathy let Jamie know that she was new to Facebook and needed some online friends. So I could see why Kathy was reaching out to this
Sure.
mutual friend. And
Sure.
plus, Jamie had a picture of her pregnant belly as her profile picture. And Kathy was a 33-year-old woman who was also pregnant. So she was
Yeah.
so she
So
was
immediately you're
looking
like, oh, we're in the same place.
totally. She was 33 years old, married to Shannon Coy, and had two teenage children.
Okay.
She lived only 30 miles away in Morgantown, and she was pregnant with her third child, and it was her first with her husband, Shannon. So she was super excited, looking for somebody that was in a similar situation. I could totally see why she reached out.
That makes sense.
So Jamie and Kathy bond over their loneliness, pregnancies, and absent baby daddies. Shannon's husband worked out of town a lot, and Jamie and James were not on the same page anymore. And Jamie was really worried she was going to end up raising her baby boy on her own.
Hmm.
Over the next 3 weeks, they became very close and confide in each other. It's just really nice to have someone to talk to who is going through what you're going through at that stage of your life.
Absolutely. I totally.
So she finds comfort in Kathy.
Yeah, of course. That makes sense.
Totally. It is around this time that both her mother, Jeannie, and her stepdad, Mike, lose their jobs.
Okay.
So now all three of the financial people in her life are jobless.
This is a problem.
Yes. So Jamie shares this information with Kathy, the financial hardships that her family is going through.
Oh God, no.
She's stressed and worried.
Immediately, I'm like, does she give her like, if you put $5,000 into this account? I go, no,
no, no. So she confides confides in her is that she is stressed and worried, and bringing another person into their home was another mouth to feed.
Yeah.
Kathy lets Jamie know that she works for a company that helps women get back on their feet, and she lets her know that she can get her baby clothes and items, diapers, and maybe even cash. Jamie was so relieved. She couldn't believe her luck.
I'm sure.
What a blessing that you're having all these problems and this person that you just befriended has all these answers for you.
Also suspicious.
A little bit, but Kathy offers to come visit Jamie and meet her and her mother. So Jeannie says her first impression of Kathy was that she was very nice, a little bit loud, but nice. Kathy was deaf in one ear. And Becca had let Jeannie and Jamie know that Kathy had been picked on in school because of how loud she was due to being deaf in one ear. So her hearing loss.
Yeah.
So I could see why maybe
being sensitive to it.
Yeah. And she probably had a hard time making friends. And so it was totally natural for her to have met somebody online first and then in person second. On the first visit, she brings with her some pregnancy magazines and they quickly become fast friends. Jamie really wants a baby shower, but did not think that it would be a possibility for her given the financial situation she was in at the moment.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But Kathy offers to throw Jamie the baby shower.
Okay.
Over the next couple of weeks, she spends more and more time over at the Stice house, planning the shower and visiting with Jamie. She was this helpful blessing to the Stice family and even started offering rides to Jeannie.
I'm starting to be very suspicious of all this.
I mean, she's just being friendly and
but it
really
sounds too good to be true.
Yeah, but she keeps backing it up with being able to provide rides, bringing her pregnancy magazines.
I'm too suspicious already.
You don't believe me. That's a twist.
I mean, come on now. We both know that our stories are going to end somewhere not so great. So I'm like, I mean, wait, it sounds too good to be true. If it's somebody else, I'm going to be like, oh, God damn it.
I mean, you're suspicious of the stepfather too, remember?
True. Anyway, okay, go on.
She got Jeannie and Mike some financial help with their utility bills and their rent. Brought baby clothes and diapers for Jamie and was spending almost every day with her. This was just the friendship that Jamie needed. She was so grateful that Facebook had brought them together.
Yeah.
Kathy had a friend that had a baby store that they were closing, and they were going to be selling the baby clothes for next to nothing. And so they made plans to go the next day, and Jamie was so excited. Things had been really rough with James, and Jamie wasn't feeling any sort of support from him, and they had been arguing a lot. She was relieved to have a plan for some affordable items for the baby. She was hoping that this could provide some relief from the tension between them. On April 13th, 2011, the day that they are going to go shopping for baby clothes, Kathy offers to drive Jeannie into town to go to the Social Security office for her to fill out some financial forms for financial aid and whatnot. She would drive Jeannie into town and then come back to get Jamie, and they would go shopping for baby clothes together. Kathy drops Jeannie off and lets her know she will be back to grab Jamie, which is about 15 minutes away, and they would be back together to go get these baby clothes. Jeannie leaves her purse and her keys in the car with Kathy because the appointment was going to be so short. Jeannie's appointment takes a little longer than she expected. She's surprised that when she gets out that Kathy and Jamie are not there waiting for her. Jeannie receives a text from Kathy letting her know that she had gone into labor and she was going to go to the hospital.
Oh, wow.
So Jeannie is now stuck at the Social Security office. So she calls her brother. Hello, brother. And he is able to give her a ride back to her house. She assumes since Kathy is in labor that Jamie would be home waiting for her. Jeannie keeps knocking on the door for Jamie to let her in because she didn't have her keys or her purse. And Jamie is not answering the door. It was not like her to go anywhere without letting Jeannie know. So she is pretty sure that she fell asleep and can't hear her knocking on the door. She kept calling her cell phone and there was no answer from Jamie. Mike arrives home to let Jeannie in. They search the house for Jamie, but she is not there. She is 5 weeks from giving birth and having mobility issues because of how far along she is in her pregnancy. So it couldn't have been easy for her to leave the house. Jamie didn't leave any sort of note, which was out of character and has now been 5 hours since Jeannie last saw her daughter, which is so crazy because she doesn't have anywhere to go. She doesn't have a car.
Yeah, so it seems out of character for her.
Right. So where is she? Jeannie sends Kathy a message asking where Jamie is. Kathy says she's at home. And Jeannie asks, your home or my home? Kathy says, your home. And Jeannie says, Kathy, Jamie is not here. Kathy replies, I dropped her off at your home. At this point, Jeannie is panicking. She starts calling all her friends and reaches out to JJ. None of them are with Jamie. She gets on Facebook and posts a message asking her friends and family if they had heard from Jamie and to please have her call her.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I would be in a full panic.
Totally. At the same time, at the Bowling Green Medical Center, there is a woman who was brought by ambulance stating she had given birth at home. The hospital starts running routine checks on the baby and the mother to make sure everything is good. No complications, no internal bleeding, things of that nature that can go wrong with labor and birthing your baby at home. Kathy calls Jeannie from the hospital and lets her know that she has had her baby and it's a beautiful baby boy. Jeannie is thrilled for her, but can't help but to ask if she has heard anything from Jamie and if she might know where she could gone. Kathy says that she has tried to call her and let her know about her baby, but she hasn't received any reply. 8 hours has gone by and Jamie is still missing. Jeannie is...
That sounds very suspect.
Right? And Jeannie is trying to stay calm. She keeps calling her daughter over.
She's not calm. There's no way.
No. She keeps calling her daughter over and over and leaving voicemail after voicemail, but she hasn't called the cops. She's not at the point where she thinks that she needs to. She just keeps thinking, where could she be? Where could she be? Maybe her phone's dead. I don't know, but she hasn't called the police at this point. Meanwhile, at the hospital, the woman who had given birth at home's baby is being examined by the doctors. The baby is still attached to the umbilical cord and other female organs. This is very unusual, as the baby is also still attached to the uterus.
Oh my God.
At this point, the doctors are very suspicious and decide to call the police department to investigate. When detectives get there, they are brought to the mother and start questioning her, stating that the doctors have examined her and there is no evidence that she has given birth. Not only that, but the baby is still attached to the uterus and hers is still intact.
Well, obviously, that's just not the way that things go.
No. So she refuses to cooperate, stating that the baby is hers and that she gave birth at home and that he was 5 weeks early and she needs to know if he is okay.
This actually makes me want to cry.
I know. It's really hard
because none of it adds up, and I feel like I know what's coming.
The detectives keep pressing her for information on the birth mother, that they know she was not the one who gave birth to this baby and that she was not even pregnant. Yeah. The woman will not change her story. And at this point, if they are going to save the birth mother, whoever she may be, they need to act fast.
Of course.
They bring the woman in for questioning. And while they are questioning her, they send detectives out to her home to see if they can find any clues of who or where the birth mother may be. When they arrive at her home, they find a drywall knife and duct tape. They pull Yes, a drywall knife
This,
and
I
duct
hate
tape.
everything about this.
They pull up the internet history on the home computer and it brings them to the Facebook pages of 3 pregnant women,
No.
all expected to give birth around the same time.
So she's a catfish.
Right. So whoever this woman is has 3 pregnant women that she is following on Facebook.
I fucking hate every second of it.
Officers are dispatched to contact the 3 potential victims.
Yeah.
14 hours since Jamie had last been seen by her mother. A knock on the door. A wave of relief rushes through Jeannie. She thought she had finally returned home and had just forgot her keys.
Oh no.
She rushes to the door to let her daughter in, but is instead greeted by 2 officers. They started asking her a series of questions about her daughter. Then they ask her if she or her daughter know a woman named Kathy Coy.
No.
Yes. Kathy Coy is the woman at the police station.
Who's been grooming her for this.
The woman who had claimed to give birth at home. The woman who had the baby with the uterus still attached.
Devastated.
Kathy denies killing Jamie, stating it was a woman named Ashley and that she had paid her $550 for the baby. Because that's what you do.
With the uterus attached?
Yes.
Shut the
with
fuck
the
up.
uterus attached. She paid. Also, you're friends with this woman. You're friends with Jamie.
So you don't remove a uterus.
No.
I'm sorry. That's just not how this works.
No. And she's claiming that this woman named Ashley, she bought this baby from this woman named Ashley for $550. The police keep pushing her. And finally, Kathy admits that there is no Ashley, that she is the Ashley. So Kathy confesses to killing Jamie.
No.
Heartbreaking. Kathy leads them to Jamie's body on April 14th off of US 68, Kentucky 80 in a wooded area. Her throat had been cut, her wrists bound and slit, and had been disemboweled with the baby cut from her. So not only did she have...
That breaks my heart.
Not only did the baby have the uterus still attached, the other female organs were the ovaries.
So she really mutilated her.
She ripped the entire encasement of this baby out of her.
That is so horrifying.
Jeannie asks...
But wait, just a quick question. The baby is alive. Baby survived?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
So Jeannie asks if she can see her daughter, but they do not let her because of the state of Jamie's body.
Oh God, no. No. That's not the memory you want.
No.
I get the visceral reaction, but oh my God.
No way. That you don't want that in your head forever. That is just not a picture that any mother should ever have.
You want to preserve that last moment. I get that, but oh my gosh, no.
100%. An account of what happened that day to the young mother-to-be from court records states Kathy had lured Jeannie away from Jamie to get her alone. She arrived at the Stice house with Jamie under the impression they were going to go shopping for baby clothes. Kathy had used a stun gun on Jamie, cut her throat and wrists with a box cutter, and cut the baby out from her abdomen, organs intact. Can you?
I'm beyond right now.
I know. It gets worse.
No.
Yes.
It's literally already the worst. I've been cringing this whole time, like white knuckling my chair. I'm not loving this.
No, it gets worse. She then drove to a friend's home, sitting on the organs of Jamie, and told her friend she had given birth at home and asked her to take a picture of her and the baby to send to her husband, Shannon.
No.
Yes. The friend was very concerned with the state of the baby and worried for Kathy, and they called an ambulance to take them in to be examined.
Well, and she clearly didn't have her organs removed. So,
Right. So Kathy was never actually pregnant. She
no,
had
of
been
course
she had been grooming Jamie and other pregnant mothers for the past month. She was desperate to save her failing marriage to Shannon and believed that the baby would be the best answer. And it's never the answer. It is
not.
never
Never.
the answer to try to have a child to save a failing relationship.
Because 99% of the time, that will never work.
Never. In the weeks leading up to the murder, Kathy had told her 13-year-old daughter that she had miscarried and needed her help kidnapping a baby.
What
Yes,
the fuck?
she had also asked her 14-year-old son if he would help her commit a murder.
Are you kidding me?
Let that sit in. She's asked her
Her
children
children.
for help. Both children denied her request,
Of
obviously.
course.
And
Yeah.
then she was like, "Oh, ha ha ha, just kidding." Clearly, that
Yeah.
yes. No words for
My
that.
God. There's no words.
No. March 2012, Kathy pleaded guilty, but mentally ill. So she avoids the death penalty and is sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. The baby survived.
Oh my God. Thank God. I can take a deep breath. Jesus. This whole time I've been holding my breath. I can't.
Isaiah Allen Stice Reynolds is being raised by JJ and gets to see the Stices every other weekend.
Oh, thank God.
Fetal abductions are a pretty rare crime, even rarer that the baby survives.
Yes.
Out of the 25 reported fetal abductions, only 25, that is a very small number.
Yeah.
4 of the mothers and 13 of the fetuses survived.
Wow. I have goosebumps when the moment you said that the baby survived. I was like, oh my God, thank God.
What a little miracle.
For real, though.
But it breaks my heart that that mother never got to hold her baby that she was so looking forward to.
No, that is just, it's heartbreaking. Thanks again, Autumn, for this terrible story.
I'm sorry. I just felt that her story needed to be told.
No, absolutely, because people should know her name and keep in mind that don't ever fucking believe anything anyone says.
No, don't trust anybody on the internet that wants to give you free things for nothing.
Absolutely.
There's always
my
a
story is
motive.
only going to get worse.
It gets worse.
That's our catchphrase. Do you mind if I just, oh, wait, actually, you know what? Let's take a quick break and hear from our sponsor, and then we'll come back and I will tell you my horrific story. Welcome back from Autumn to horrific story. I will be now telling mine.
I know. I kind of shocked you there. I don't think you were expecting
I was
that.
not ready. I was not at all ready.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, everyone. But it had a little bit of a happy ending when the baby survived.
It does have a happy ending. And I think it is important for people to remember that we need to acknowledge the people that these things happen to. Because if you don't, then it's like they didn't exist. And that's not right either.
No. And I'm going to post on our Instagram some pictures of her because she was so happy and so adorable as a pregnant woman. It just is so heartbreaking.
It is really heartbreaking. So I'm just going to start moving on because I literally can't spend one more second on that.
I'm sorry.
Creeping into my mind. Thank you again.
You're very welcome.
So my story tonight is old-timey, my favorite.
Yes.
Early 19th century.
Ooh, I love these ones.
But it's terrible. So this is the story of Kate Webster and the murder of Mrs. Julia Martha Thomas.
I like when they have long names like that.
They always do.
They're very important names.
They are. So Kate Webster was born in 1849 And she was born to kind of nice lower class parents. So her parents didn't have a lot of money, but they were very nice and well respected in their community. But she in Ireland, let's preface this that she was an Irish woman and she was born in Killane County, Wexford,
Okay.
1849. Like I said, poor, respectable parents. As a small child, she was caught stealing on numerous occasions and developed a reputation for dishonesty. In her,
Ooh.
yeah. In her early teens, she stole a quantity of money and used it to sail to Liverpool, England. So Kate spent the next years living upon her wits and whatever she could steal, because that was her jam. So she also tried being a pickpocket, but she was kind of terrible at it and ended up going to prison for 4 years
Oh
at
no.
the age of 18, starting it off.
Yeah, with a
So,
bang.
oh my gosh, it gets worse. So, she traveled to London and took a job as a housekeeper to make a little extra income. She also became a sex worker because that's what she got to do. It wasn't too long after that before she became pregnant. She gave birth to a son. After that, she took to robbing boarding houses. So she would take a room and then sell everything that was in that room. So she would just like kind of go into someone else's room, sell all of their belongings and make money off of that. That
Wow.
yeah. Yeah, she would do that a lot. So it happened over and over again and she ended up going back to jail for that.
Oh no.
Yes. She was really like she's one of those people that just was really into being a thief, but she was like the worst thief. So she just kept getting caught. Like through her entire criminal career, she just kept getting caught.
So she was not a smart criminal.
No, she
They
was
usually
not.
really aren't, are they?
I mean, they can be.
True.
So what happens next is that so I said she moved to Liverpool. She's stealing money. She gets to London, and a lady that was, I would say, upper middle class. So, of the time in that Victorian era, it's really common for people to have maids and butlers, right? And it's not specific that it is for just the upper class. Once you reach a certain point, you would start to have a maid to take care of your home.
Dude,
So,
I want one of those.
right? Me too.
Sounds actually really nice.
And someone clean up after my family for real.
Yes, please, please.
So she moves into London and she ends up getting a job as a cook housekeeper. And they give a referral to this woman, Mrs. Julia Martha Thomas, at number 2 Vines Cottage Park Road in Richmond, which is just an offset of London. To begin with, the women got along really well. Kate was great. She was really happy working for Mrs. Thomas, who was comfortably off. Like I said, she's like upper middle class, comfortably off. She is a widower, but she's known to be kind of eccentric. Not, and I mean, I hate to say this, but she's like described as an odd spinster. Like she wasn't a spinster. She had a husband.
I hate that word,
I know. So
spinster.
she was a widower, but she was just kind of odd and kept to herself a little bit, but she would wear every piece of jewelry that she owned when she went out. She was someone who wanted to be a higher class than she was. Like she would do that, but she would also take in lodgers because she needed to make ends meet. But she would wear every piece of jewelry and her finest clothes if she went anywhere. So she was always trying to like
Be
give,
about status.
it was all about status for her. But she was known to everyone in the neighborhood as being someone who was almost cruel to her staff. Now that was unknown to Kate Webster that she was like that, but she had a referral, and that's why she hired Kate to be her new housekeeper. And she was the staff of one. So there wasn't other people in there. Julia Martha Thomas was in her 50s. And soon after hiring Kate, that getting along faded away fairly quickly. And what happened is Kate's work became really poor quality. They started off really great. And then she started to go to the pubs after work, and she started to do other things that were not of the standard that Mrs. Thomas required. She liked that you were more proper and you were this and that. But Kate went to the bars and she liked to have a good time. And she did that. And sometimes I believe worked and drank at the same time. That did not go over well.
No, I would imagine it wouldn't.
No. And the fact that she kept going to the bars really irritated her because she would go to bars that right next to where they lived. In fact, she went to this place called literally the Hole in the Wall. So she would go to the Hole in the Wall pub frequently after work, and it was very close proximity to Mrs. Thomas's home. So she became very irritated by this. And
Right, because she's all about status.
yes. And so she gave Kate notice and said, you need to leave effective Friday, February 28th. And said, you need to go. That's it. I'm not going to have you work here for me any longer. Well, Kate negotiated a few extra days because we don't really know why. It might be because she didn't have anywhere to go. It might be because she didn't have any money and she wanted to finish out the week. We don't know exactly why, but she did negotiate a few extra days. So she gave her the notice, and she started to tell people at church that she was becoming kind of frightened of her employee. She said that she was becoming more aggressive with her, and said that Kate is really not finding a new job or any other accommodations. And she really did plead to get a little extra time, right? So
Right.
on Sunday morning, the 2nd of March, 1879, Mrs. Thomas went to church as usual. So Kate was allowed to take Sunday afternoons off of work, but had to be back in time when Mrs. Thomas left to go to evening service.
Okay.
So on that Sunday afternoon, Kate comes back, but on her way back to the Vine Cottages, she goes to that pub that I mentioned before, the Hole in the Wall. And she ended up hanging out there a little longer than what was expecting. And she got back late. That inconvenienced Mrs. Thomas. And again, like I said before, Mrs. Thomas was known to be almost abusive to her staff members. So she would yell at them. She was overly demanding. She would go through any work that they did and point everything out. And when you have this fiery woman as Kate Webster, that did not go over well.
No,
So,
I would not imagine so.
well, what happened next is that she was pissed. She was pissed when Kate got back. Mrs. Thomas at that point was very angry. She reprimanded her and then told her this is unacceptable, went off on her. What happened after that? We don't know exactly, but she went to that evening. She went to the evening service, and she was notably agitated to everyone around. She made it well known she was pissed off and hated everything about Kate Webster. She can't wait till she goes. She was letting everyone know. She went full Karen on everybody there.
I love that. Full Karen.
She went full Karen. She needed the manager.
Let me speak to your manager.
Back of her hair is spiked. It's a whole moment.
Yes.
Anyway, so the fellow members of the congregation really noted that she was like very, very agitated. And she really was upset at Kate's dishonesty. And she said to several people she feared that her home was being robbed. So we don't know exactly what happened after that. because no one accompanied her home. But she got back and Kate confessed to her executioner after a lot of poking and prodding. That she said specifically, we had an argument which ripened into a quarrel, and at the height of my anger and rage, I threw her from the top of the stairs to the ground floor. She had a heavy fall, and I felt myself as she, oh, wait, sorry. I felt that she was seriously injured. I became more agitated at what happened and lost all control of myself. And to prevent her screaming or getting me in trouble, I caught her by the throat and I struggled, but I choked her.
Oh my God.
Yeah. At her prosecution, she painted a completely different story. However, Mrs. Thomas's next door neighbor, Mrs. Ives, said she overheard the noise of a fall because at that time they didn't have insulation in the walls of the home. So you literally could hear your next door neighbor, even if they were a house away. You could hear everything.
Ew, that would be so annoying. I just have to throw that out there because I already have problems with my crazy fan lady neighbor. Yeah. And I could only imagine if there's no insulation.
Right. So she heard her fall. It's not like they were in separate houses. She heard the fall, but then it quickly quieted down. So she didn't think anything of it. Like maybe you dropped something super loud.
Right.
Or whatever. But she basically threw her from a story high and just shoved her down and then choked her to death.
That is brutal.
It gets worse.
No.
So after that happened, so what happens next is that Kate had to deal with the body. So instead of just leaving it and escaping, she decided to dismember it, then dispose of the parts in the river.
No.
She set out on this grim task by first cutting off the woman's head with a razor and a meat saw for hacking her limbs. She then boiled the limbs and torso in a copper stove, then burned her organs and intestines so they would be gone.
Oh, no. No.
Even Kate mentioned that she was revolted by all of this in the enormous amount of blood that was everywhere. But she stuck
to it. Kate, I don't feel bad for you.
It's going to get, I keep saying it gets worse, but it really does. So then she systematically burnt and boiled off all the body parts and packed the remains in a wooden box, except for the head and one foot, which she couldn't find room for. So it is said that Kate, and this is in literally all the research I did, that she sold the fatty remains of the drippings of the body to several people in the neighborhood as drippings to cook with. Like if you were to cook a whole ham or you were to cook a whole, large animal, you would have these drippings and you use the drippings to make gravies or use them to like season your pans or anything. So she sold the drippings around the neighborhood.
No.
Yeah, of the body. Secrets in the Sauce.
I was literally about to say that because that's my favorite movie.
It's mine too. So
I was like, Idgy, Secrets in the Sauce,
Secrets
like fried green tomatoes. Is this what this is happening? Oh, no.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's just fucking awful, right?
That is horrific.
Yeah. And it was noted that she had started laundry really early in the morning at the house. And that was odd because it wasn't her normal shift. So Mrs. Ives, the next door neighbor, noted that and told the police that, but they didn't have enough at that point. Now, weirdly, not long after that happened, she started showing up at places wearing Mrs. Thomas's clothing. And she had, like I said, she was upper middle class. She had a very different clothing apparel than Kate Webster would normally have. So she's now wearing her clothes, and she is calling herself Mrs. Thomas. So she goes to visit old friends, the Porters, who she knew growing up. She gets to their house. She meets them in in the clothing, right? So she's in this other area. Like she looks like she's a totally different person, status wise. And then she tells them, I am Mrs. Thomas. And they're like, oh. And to explain this, she said she married a captain who was Mr. Thomas and he died, and she is now a widower. And that explains the name change and this change in status of her clothing. She said, I have this house now and I need to sell off the things inside of it since my husband has died, is what she told them.
So she's going back to her roots where she sells things for money.
Basically, I mean, it's what she thought worked for her before. She sets off on this task of getting rid of all these things. But when she comes to visit the Porters, they noted that when she came there, she had this bag with her, right? Like a large carpet bag that was noticeable, right?
Like a Mary Poppins kind of style.
I mean, like I want to imagine it that way, but
not a happy bag.
No, it's bad. So she goes, they notice the bag, and then she leaves for a little bit, and then she comes back later in the afternoon when she's talking to them, and the bag is gone. There's nothing there, right? So this seems really strange. And remember that foot I mentioned earlier that didn't fit in the bag? Well, it's found in a bag.
Oh no.
A river in Ireland. So she just tossed it in the river and just moved along, but they didn't connect it at that point, right? But she's still borrowing Mrs. Thomas's silk dresses. She's walking around in all of her things. And she's making too much of a note of herself, right? People are starting to really notice that she's around. She's calling herself that. The neighbor starts noticing that men come to the house and they're taking out the furniture. And they're like, wait, I haven't seen Mrs. Thomas in a really long time. So now,
right. And now you're calling yourself Mrs. Thomas too.
So now people, well, and she's wearing the clothes. Like they didn't know she was calling herself, but they see her leaving wearing Mrs. Thomas's clothes. They're very suspicious.
Yeah.
So they call the
super
police.
Suspect.
Like, I don't know what's going on here, but we haven't seen her in a really long time. And they did come and talk to her at the house. But she said, oh, she's out or she's not around or she went to visit a cousin. It was all these excuses of what was happening, but she didn't say specifically what actually happened. So a box was discovered on a morning by a coalman, and he was shocked when he opened it. He brought his discovery to an inspector at the Barnes police station, and the police found several body parts, including a torso, and they declared it a human female. They noticed the skin showed signs of being boiled, which was very strange.
Oh, that makes me sick.
Right? But the head was never found. So it's really hard to identify the body. And remember, this is 19th century, so we don't have DNA. We don't have any of those things that we do now.
Right.
So at this point, the real Mrs. Thomas has been missing for a very, very long time. Kate agreed to sell the furniture and all of her clothes to a man named John Church, and he arranged the removal of all of those. Unsurprisingly, this aroused so much suspicion, right? Like I said before, the neighbor, Mrs. Ives, was on it. She was like, this is not fucking cool.
And I'd like to think I or you would have been Mrs. Ives, like this, I feel like super nosy neighbor that is onto her.
I'm immediately like, what is my neighbor doing outside? What are they doing? And I was like,
what's happening?
They're actually planting flowers, and I'm just a crazy person. It's fine.
I mean, if you start seeing people digging holes, you better say something.
I'm for real though. So they start finding things. So Mrs. Church, the wife of John Church, who arranged all of the removal of all the things because they believed her story. Like, my husband died. I want to offload all of this furniture and everything. Anyways, so she finds a purse and a diary belonging to Mrs. Thomas that was inside of one of the dresses. And it becomes clear that this is not right and that they all feel that they're being duped.
Yeah,
So
I would too.
they call the police station and the Richmond police come to check out everything, right? The next day, the search was made of number 2 Vine Cottage, which is where she lived, and an axe, a razor, and some charred bones were recovered. Together with the missing handle from the box that they found in the river with all of the body parts, they were able to put together that this was Kate Webster. They also talked to a bunch of people in the neighborhood and they all put Kate Webster as the person. The fact that she was going around saying she was Mrs. Thomas and had all of her effects on her, like all of her jewelry, she was selling all of it and wearing her clothes and pretending to be her, made her obviously a prime suspect.
Yes, 100%.
So Kate decided to flee to Ireland, which was the first place the police looked for her because that's where she's from. So
she's going home.
They immediately went to go check on her, and she was arrested on the 28th of March and kept in custody, awaiting a collection of 2 detectives from Scotland Yard. She was brought back to England, then taken to the Richmond police station, where she made a statement on March 30th and was formally charged with murder. So after the statement, she accused John Church of being the responsible party for Mrs. Thomas's death, and he was subsequently arrested and charged with murder too.
What? Just because she said so?
Yep. Well, I mean, again, they don't have a lot of forensic science then, so it's actually pretty interesting because so many times you really wonder how many of the wrong suspect was taken in these moments because they didn't have anything to back anything up, right?
If that's all it took. Dang, that's really scary.
And she was a woman, and they're more likely to not believe women to be capable of this type of gruesome murder.
Right. I mean, yeah, given the times, I guess you're totally right.
Yeah. So fortunately, he had a very strong alibi, and the police completely believed him.
Oh, good. Okay, good.
So at the hearing, the charges against him were dropped and Kate was remanded to custody. She then was transferred to Newgate Prison on the journey by horse-drawn prison carriage, and she went to London for each day of her trial. Her trial opened on the 2nd of July in 1879 before Justice Denman at the Central Criminal Court next door to Newgate. It was called the Old Bailey, and you may hear that this is called the Old Bailey murder, even though that has none of the names that are part of this.
Interesting. Anyway, that's a cool historical fact.
Yeah. So a hat maker named Mary Durden gave evidence to the prosecution telling the court that on the 25th of February, Kate had told her that she was going to Birmingham to take control over the property and jewelry that was left to her by a recently deceased aunt. Yeah, we don't believe you, Kate.
No, we do not believe you, Kate.
So the prosecution claimed that it was clear that there was clear evidence of premeditation because she did that 6 days before the murder.
Oh, so yeah, for sure.
At first, she was trying to act like she said, like, I just was in this rage and I just pushed her down the stairs and she fell. However, she did postpone her unemployment with her. And then 6 days prior to the murder, she had gone and said, I'm going to be offloading a bunch of shit. Right. Yeah. So it's obvious that this was premeditated at this point. The defense tried to suggest that Mrs. Thomas could have died of natural causes because she was very agitated the last time she was seen alive leaving church on Sunday afternoon. Now, back in the day, they would say, oh, a woman's agitated or a woman has, hysteria, and they would treat them with narcotics or, like copious amounts of mercury or, all of those
Yeah.
things because they would just assume certain things meant certain things. Anyway, so that it was suggested at one point that she may have died of natural causes just for being agitated, which makes me literally agitated. Anyway, so both Henry Porter and John Church gave evidence against Kate describing the events and how they might have been involved because she had gone to both of them talking about how she had to unload all of these things and she had to get rid of them because of her husband that died or this aunt that she's talking about. Anyway, late afternoon on Tuesday, July 8th, the jury retired to consider the verdict, returning just over an hour later and pronounced her guilty. Before her sentence, Kate yet again made a complete denial of the charge, but she was still found guilty, right? And she was asked if she had this. Here's a twist, and this is going to freak you out. Ready?
Yes.
They asked if she had anything to say before she was sentenced, and she claimed to be pregnant.
No.
Yes.
How do we always do this?
I don't fucking know, but she claimed to be pregnant. So they brought in a group of women, and I believe they called them like a jury of matrons. And what they did, and again, like I said, this is a long time ago. So they would bring in this large group of women to like go through and inspect her body and see if she showed signs of pregnancy. Now, again, like she could have been pregnant.
Right. But the likelihood is low.
But the likelihood was low. And these women were there to inspect her body. So to see if they see any changes in her body to say that she was pregnant. I mean, you're not 8 weeks in, you start having signs of pregnancy, but I mean, I don't know.
We don't know. Yeah.
I also don't believe her because she's a well-known liar and she knows that that would prolong her life.
Right. So she's at this point just trying to do whatever she can
grasping at straws
to save herself.
Yes. Well, it turned out that all of them, literally every single woman, said that she was not pregnant. So at that point, she comes in, she gets and this was round the clock, teams of female prison officers were also inspecting her. And then this jury of women were like, nah, she's not pregnant. So at that point, she gets told, you are not, they don't believe you. So on the eve of her hanging, because she's sentenced to death, Kate makes the confession in the presence of a Catholic priest, and she tells them somewhat closer to the truth. She stated that she understood that she knew she was dying and that she was going to have to go. And that's when she told him the story that I told you earlier about how she had tossed her down the stairs. I say tossed, but she threw her down the stairs and then choked her to death.
Oh, no.
Then did the boiling of the body. And so
that part is just so disgusting.
Oh my God. Even Kate was disgusted by this. She talked about how revolting it was. I mean,
because it is.
It's awful.
Yes. Horrific.
Yes. So the actual execution and the sentence of death changed everything, right? Kate was the only the second person and the sole woman to be hung there. At 8:45 a.m., the prison bell starts to toll, and a few minutes before 9 a.m., under the sheriff, the prison governor, Captain Colville, the prison doctor, and 2 male wards formed up outside of her cell. Inside, Kate was being ministered by Father McHenry, which is who she confessed to. She would typically be offered a stiff tot of brandy before the execution commenced. I don't know if she got it, but I kind of love that they gave her that.
Kind of classy.
Well, she also was known as a drinker, so maybe. But the governor entered her cell and told her that it was time. She was let out between two male wards and accompanied by Father McHenry across the yard and was brought to a shed nicknamed the cold meat shed.
Ooh,
Ugh.
that
Having,
just sounds disgusting.
right, having the gallows in a separate building spared the other prisoners from the sound of the trap, that they would hear the falling, because there was an actual written out specific to how to hang a body. There was a man that discovered the amount of weight ratio you needed so that you could humanely snap a neck. I mean, it sounds so gruesome, but it's was so much better than what it was before. They used to literally just let people like suffocate to death. Instead, he found a ratio of how high you had to have the person like fall down to just kill them humanely. And so, according to her 125-pound frame, they had to have her 6 feet 9 inches specifically dropped from there to kill her more humanely, which is kind of awful and gruesome. I'm so sorry, but this this
I
was
mean,
part of it.
there is no way around it. That is what happened.
He had this, it was the ratio was based upon weight and the height of the person, so that it was done more humanely. I mean, I don't believe in death penalties, but at least it was less suffering. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying.
You know where I'm coming from. Kate entered the cold meat shed and she saw the painting of the gallows and the rope hanging in front of her. And she walked up, they secured her wrists, and she walked to basically like a plank. And then she died. She said right before she fell, "Lord, have mercy upon me." And then she plummeted below. Her body hung, and then they took her down and took care of her body afterward, and she was buried in the number 3 grave there. um a black flag was then hoisted on a flagpole above the main gate so that the crowd of people that had gathered there for her execution knew that she had passed away, which is so fucking gruesome. Like, who did that back then?
Yeah. I mean, who gathers at something like that?
I mean, it happens so often too. So this whole story now has a modern day crazy fucking twist. Okay.
Oh, I'm here for this.
You better strap in.
I'm ready.
I don't know if you know, but David Attenborough, who is a jewel from England. I love him. He narrates and has also been part of like almost every nature documentary that fucking matters. I mean, he is just incredible. His voice is so well known. The moment you hear it, you're like, "Oh, I know this voice." He did Planet Earth. He did
Oh, yeah.
all
Yes. I love his voice.
now, yes. I honestly, I have a sleep app that has him reading me stories at night.
That sounds
Anyway,
really relaxing, actually.
I love David Attenborough. And not to mention the things he does for the environment are very great. But we're not even going to talk about that right now because it's not about him. But it is. So in 2010, David Attenborough has a home that was built in the area where the Hole in the Wall, that pub that Kate Webster used to frequent.
Yeah.
He was building a home on that property where that was. And in 2010, as they were working on the gardens and they were excavating for that, they came across a fucking skull.
No.
Yes. Yes. And they were able to identify the unfortunate victim's skull as Mrs. Thomas.
No fucking way.
So her skull that, we all know she was decapitated, and she had thrown the rest of the body into the river, but shockingly, she was decapitated purposely, that they weren't able to identify her, but she was found hundreds of years or over 130 years later in David Attenborough's garden.
That is such a crazy twist.
I literally can't. Like, oh my God, this can't really be happening.
How incredible.
Right? So they ended up literally finding her skull there, and they were able to have that. So it's kind of a crazy twist to the story, because you were kind of felt like it was over, and then all of a sudden in 2010 they're like, oh no, wait, because it's where
there's more.
It's where the hole in the wall was. I think it's just such a crazy twist to the story. And again, I literally love David Attenborough. So I love that weird connection that happened there, that's where that pub was that she went to all the time, that ended up being her demise of why she was going to get fired.
Right.
And then instead of taking that, because I think it just didn't fit in the box, she just buried it at the hole in the wall pub. Just crazy.
I loved that. That was just,
I'm sorry.
I mean, I could have done without the whole secrets in the sauce situation. But other than that, that was fascinating.
Right? I love this time period, partly because the forensic science weren't as developed at that time. So I find it really fascinating how they connected murders at that period.
I love hearing about that.
And FYI, folks, you're going to hear a lot more of those from me, because I just love that Victorian era, 19th century. That is my jam. So there will be lots more of those. And I apologize if you don't like them, but please
Who doesn't though? Who doesn't? It's something so unique, and I love that you love them.
It's also something that I feel like you hear a lot about, the big stories or everything. I mean, I really thought I grabbed something that was a little old news when I did Dorothea Puente. And then you and I were talking today.
Oh, yeah.
We saw that there is a special coming up.
Yeah.
Serial Killer Week on, I think it's ID
Oxygen.
Discovery, Oxygen.
Oh, yeah, it's Oxygen. And it's like a 2-hour special on Dorothea Puente.
I started that. That was me. I'm a trendsetter.
I know. You're such a trendsetter. When I heard that, I was like, what? Erin just covered that story.
Like this lady in her 30s. I'm like, yes.
They must listen to our podcast.
They must. I'm sure they were producing it a lot longer. But but I was just like, oh my God, I just covered that story. So it's very interesting to me. But also, if you are a listener and you do like to hear our podcast, please do subscribe to us on both Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. And we would really, really appreciate it if you would do a review.
Yes.
And that would be really helpful for us. Or send us an email at info@murdernotmurdering.com, and then give us your feedback there, or DM us.
On Instagram.
Any of the things. Reach out to us.
Yeah, we are very available.
We are. We'd love to hear from you. Send us your stories. We've gotten a lot of really interesting ones from a lot of people, but these have been some weirdly connected.
I know. How do we always do that?
I thought before we talked, because as we start, we sort of we don't tell each other what we're going to talk about, but then I said, oh, wait till you hear my story. And she's, oh no, you've got to hear mine. And then we heard it. And I was like, as soon as you started talking about the pregnancy, I was like, oh no.
We did it again.
Because we have, it's not the same, but there is impersonating people. There is the mutilation.
Yes.
Not something I want to have in common.
The pregnancy.
And then a false pregnancy. Kind of crazy.
So crazy. What a weird coincidence.
Right? I wonder what next week's going to be. I don't know yet. So
I don't know yet either. You guys will
we're
just
all
have
in
to
it
wait and
together.
listen.
And we have to research.
Yes.
I do
I did
want
want
to
to.
mention, oh,
Oh,
there we go.
again.
Same thing. I want to
Yes.
mention, I want to mention,
I'll let you go first.
thank God. I just want to mention I did get a lot of information from Murderpedia, and then also I watched the Murder Maps episode that was specifically about the Richmond murder.
And I want to say that I watched the ID channel's show, and that's how it was called Web of Lies. And that's how I got a lot of my information. And I also, of course, Murderpedia. And I also listened to a podcast called Dead Wrong, and they did a really good job as well.
I mean, I think it's important to always have cite our where we find our information.
Totally, because we didn't come up with these things all on our own.
No, but I mean, I feel like too, the amount of research that we do is a lot.
Yes.
Because
oh, yes.
especially when I'm looking at these older cases, they have very conflicting information. Like I will look at different ones and they will have a completely different story over and over again. So it's very difficult to find like a reliable source.
I can only imagine for those really old ones. Mine was really hard to find. There weren't a lot of articles. There was no Wikipedia.
I've never heard of it at all.
Yeah, so, she's not that well known, but I mean,
at the same time, let's not ever forget her name.
No, I just like to mention people that really deserve to be remembered.
Yeah, we don't want anybody to fall through the cracks.
No.
So this was another sad but good episode. And we would, again, like I said, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us. We will also be posting on the Instagram account pictures and different accounts of things that you did not hear on this episode. So you will have more information. By the way, Kate Webster looks fucking crazy.
I can't wait to see what she looks like.
Wait till you see, because there's an actual picture of her and she looks cray.
But I'm here for that.
there's also some snippets from articles that I will attach to it. But oh my God, she is like shocking when you see her. You're like, yeah, she definitely boiled the body. Like when you see
oh no.
You'll know. You'll know. Anyway, thanks for listening, and we will talk at you next Saturday.
Talk with you. Yeah, next Saturday.
Yeah, we'll be here again. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye.